The hour. We apologize for the late start and apologize to my guest today. Super Senator Sakaja, S3 is in the house, and Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. Poleni, guys. Honestly, I apologize.
We are thinking of charging you. I mean, you're giving
you guys are making money. Those are ads.
I
know, but we can't be starting. Jimmy Kariuki, the KTV, and Saroba, he says, I'm using toothpicks to keep my eyes open.
My friend Jimmy. My regards to Jimmy.
I was with you on Saturday. So
Paul Jimmy, bro.
Tell him he's done a very good job with Panafri.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Upstairs by the pool.
It looks very nice.
Jimmy, are you listening? Is it worth the toothpicks?
It's because you went to a good school.
Yeah.
That is why.
Yeah. All right, Senator, let's start with you. You have an NDC tomorrow.
National Delegates Conference. Wiper. Kasarani. Sports. Big show.
To decide what?
Bring your cameras.
We'll be there live.
Yeah, live, yes.
So you're coming from Water at the COG. Tomorrow you have the NDC.
Yeah.
So what are you going to decide? I mean, you're going to pick a presidential candidate like you don't already have one?
No, but I mean, the Constitution requires that we pick one every 5 years. Even if it's a formality, we still have to do it and make the pronouncements of the things you want to hear. What exactly are we selling? What exactly are we promoting in Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka? So it's prime. We are going to fill also our positions. Some have been vacant, like one when Hassan Omar left us is still vacant. And change of colors and many things.
Oh, that's right. You're going to change colors, right? What are you going to...
Jeff.
I can only guess. I hope it's not Mutulo's in charge.
No. It's still going to look cumbersome. So it's okay.
like his socks.
Like the socks.
Could someone zoom in on the senator's socks? Those are happy socks.
My goodness.
All right. At least, there's a sock. Oh, look at that. Oh, they're on TV here. Yeah. At least you have an NDC.
Yes.
Look who cancelled the NDC.
Jubilee.
How?
No.
So it's cancelled.
But is Sakaja in Jubilee or NC?
I'm in Jubilee.
That's a good question.
I mean, I've always said it wherever I go. I'm a member of Jubilee. Not just a member, founding chairman. And the NDC, you know, when your party leader is a president, you work around his schedule. And we have the State of the Nation on the 30th, and so at some point the NDC will be done. I think all parties must do their NDCs. It's not a big thing. I mean, it happens.
That is such a lame answer.
No, but it's true.
You didn't know you had an NDC on the 30th of November?
No.
As a party?
He asked for the notice to be done, but then he chose to do the State of the Nation on the same day. So it's something normal. No need to be finicky about it. Just split hairs. It's just a date, and many of us are waiting to see the journey the party is going. We've been watching. We're waiting to see.
The operative one is many of us.
We shall make decisions. Yeah.
This is very bizarre. Okay, so what happens to OCA, which you're both trying to be a part of?
No, we are a part of One Kenya Alliance.
And?
Founding members of One Kenya Alliance. And it's a formidable force. Sakaja knows. We can't disclose the details for obvious reasons. It's part of our strategy. But we have a plan, and a very good plan. And the plan is going to materialize once we are done with the small formalities.
You can't even name a flag bearer, and you say you have a plan.
When is the deadline?
What is that? I mean, what are you saying?
3 months to the elections.
3 months to the elections. We are so long away. I mean, what is the hurry?
Jeff, you're going to see a lot.
Between now and what, in May? Or?
I mean, I've always told you, look at our recent political history. Look at 2002. When did the declaration of Kibaki Toshep, when was it made? It was 2 months to the election.
2 months.
2007, we formed PNU. And this I can't forget, because it was President Kibaki's birthday. And your former MP Munyao was singing happy birthday.
Yeah.
It was so new, and his birthday is in November. It was so new that there's a lady from Northeastern who was shouting, NPU, NPU, because people didn't even know it's PNU. And it formed the government. 2012, when I was chairman of TNA, we came together with URP, the Deputy President's Party, on the 4th of December 2012 for a March election. So this is the time when a lot is going to happen. People are going to talk, there'll be meetings, there'll be alliances, there'll be a lot of movement. If anyone now tells you that this time, for sure they know how it's going to go, they're lying to you.
They're lying. Yeah. It's forming, by the way, and I said this earlier today, that this is not kindergarten stuff. We're not playing kalongolongo. It's difficult drafting and forming coalitions, because you're putting together in a room as many ambitions as you can. You're also putting egos in the room and putting many other interests in the room. So it's a delicate balance, but the truth of the matter is that it's going to be rolled out.
Yeah, but there seems a lot of infighting within OKA. I mean, between Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi, Baringo Senator Gideon. It seems a lot of there's like indecision.
What makes it look like infighting?
Because the chemistry, even if they go to a rally, the chemistry is just not there. Looks like one of them's gonna bolt.
That could happen, but I think they're very good relation, and the media is trying to sell stories. I think it's more. There's more fun when you say there's a fight, or so and so is moving, so and so is not true to Oka. From what I know, from Musalia Mudavadi and also from Kalonzo, when I speak to them, I think they're committed to staying together, and they have choices to make. They'll make a choice early in the year. They'll make a choice who's the candidate. They'll make a choice whether to work with anybody else and who it is they'll work with. They have decisions to make based on where the people are and the progress we're making. Yeah. So they're strong candidates. I mean, you cannot in any way ignore, because people have tried to fashion this as simply a two-horse race. I don't think so. Yesterday you saw them with Martha Karua, JB Muturi, Kabogo, and this entire team from the Mount Kenya Unity Forum. I know they're talking to many different people. And so I think we just be patient, and now let's interrogate what people are selling, all the candidates.
You think there'll be a third force? Can OKA be a third force?
It can be a third force. That is possible. Politics is out of the possible, Cicero says. Yeah, and these are strong people. They've been vice presidents. Gideon is a senator. He's chairman of his party. Wetangula is a party leader. He's been minister of foreign affairs. They have a long history. And I think the experience. They have been on these tables before. They've had to let go of their ambitions. They've supported Raila Odinga before. They've supported Uhuru Kenyatta before. Musalia Mudavadi was his running mate in 2002, and he lost the election after that. So I don't think they're green to this. Maybe we are the ones who are green, because I've never run for president. Neither has Mutula yet. Yet. But I think what's important is for us to know as a country that ultimately Kenyans will make a choice on who's the president.
Your party leader says he will never be Raila's running mate. Why?
Well, he has the right to do so, but it's fair we say that, and from what I know, and I can disclose because he has shared those documents with us, they agreed in 2017 that Raila would support Kalonzo. That's really the long and short of it. So unless some miracle happens and they form another deal, I don't know. But for now, his position is that they agreed it supports him, and therefore he will not support him unless he agrees to support him. So that's the matrix. The matrix looks like that. And of course, he will have to come and persuade his supporters the basis upon which he has changed his position, because he has stated that position not once, not twice, and not thrice. But to even echo the sentiments of my colleague, Senator Sakaja, the presidential election will be a question of numbers. He knows in 2013 how they won the 50+1 and the margin. Same thing happened in 2017. It's just a game of margin. So anybody who assumes that even 1 or 10 votes or 30 votes or 30,000 is something to ignore, they don't know about the presidential elections. They are not a clear cut, and therefore the reason why One Kenya Alliance has attracted the sort of attention it has attracted, because we have understood and we have seen the political trends. Sakaja will not tell you about the numbers, but we have seen the political trends. We know what's happening in Central. We know what's happening in Eastern. Alongside the polls, we already know what's going on. And these things, the tides are going to change. As you go along, the tides are going to change. But more importantly for us as an alliance is to say that what has been fashioned as a two-horse race and the rest must follow is something we don't agree with. We don't agree with entirely, because we don't want to appear as if we are limited by choice, or we are being boxed into a corner to agree or not agree. Even if our own principals agreed to be boxed into those corners, their supporters will not agree, and we have told them as much, that they want that freedom to be able to make a determination of where they want to go. And we have said before, and those who have done the math know that just Oka alone will carry for you easily 4 or 5 million votes.
Earlier on, you said this is not a two-horse race.
No.
It is a two-horse race.
Why? Who are the horses?
Is that a statement of fact, or is just an
Come on.
Have you conducted an election? Like, how do you determine that? You feel it is?
Look, the signs are on the wall. Anyone.
What I can say for certain, in case the Oka principals decide to support any other candidate, that person is president.
Yeah.
It's a simple, it's numbers.
It's a two-horse race, yeah.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. If they decide to back William Ruto, he'll become president in the morning. If they decide to back Raila Odinga, he'll become president in the morning. And as it is, they are on their own. So you cannot discount that. And a lot, that's what I'm saying, a lot is going to happen. There's no prophet. There's no crystal ball. A lot is going to happen, and a lot is happening behind the scenes.
Would Musalia Mudavadi agree to be Ruto's running mate?
He could. Why not? He could. It's his decision. Yeah. He anything. That's what I'm saying. Politics. Anything can happen. Kalonzo can agree to be Ruto's running mate, or Musalia's running mate. Musalia can agree. You know. But when these things are being done, and you remember in 2013, I think for anyone who remembers the history very well, William Ruto had a very difficult time talking to his people. I remember at Eldoret Sports Club, explaining why he had to make the decision to support Uhuru Kenyatta. It was not an easy decision, but he had to make it. People, I mean, the people who felt that is expression of their political ideals, but he had to go down to his people. He looked at the numbers, he looked at his political trajectory, he looked at his age, and he made that decision, and he moved with the people. The only danger would be if any of these principles in Oka, whether it is Raila Odinga, whether it is Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia, Ruto included, decide to make a move without their people. Because then your people will never forgive you. And as Senator Wambua said once, you will go alone. You'll find yourself walking alone. So it's a political process.
Someone was saying earlier on, some so-called experts, they're saying that running mate has to come from Mount Kenya region, because simply, again, the numbers you talk about, the 9 million votes up for grabs.
Yeah.
We've been hearing about Mount Kenya Forum, we've been hearing about Martha Karua, now Kenya chairperson, being a possible running mate for Raila.
Yes, Martha Karua has denied all this bench opinions that she has been. She says she has not been approached by anybody, but we all agree that the bride looks like Central, walks like Central,
sounds like
Central, walks like Central, and hence the attraction, and it's a good thing, because it has, in fact, in itself produced now even the gender question from Central of a female possibility of a female deputy president from Central. So these are good vibes. They are good vibes, because then they are up for anybody to negotiate with them. Even they understand, not only from the side of the principals, either Raila or even Ruto or from Oka principal, they need to be in government. In fact, Central, unlike the others, need to be in government more than the rest, because they understand what it means to be in government, and they're negotiating from that perspective. When we sat in the Mount Kenya Forum, they say, we want to know, we want to make a determination. Tell us, what do you think you're going to do for us? Because we have been in government, we know we have a leader. What do you think you're going to do? So it's a discussion, but it's a very robust discussion where people sit down and say, what is in it for us? I mean, when Raila goes to Western, they ask him, you want our support, but what is this for us? Sakaja and I, by the way, and you must bring up that subject, attempted to find a method that would give these presidential candidates an easy way out about how to form government. They thought we were just bluffing and looking for attention, and all of them are going to sweat blood to find a running mate, because the possibilities of your other colleagues thinking you have shortchanged them is going to arise when you pick a running mate. The repercussions of Raila picking a running mate for Central are real, because there are only two positions. his and the other person he has picked. The repercussions for William Samoei Ruto are the same. Pick from Central, you lose some, win some. But it's a discussion, it's a robust discussion, but you must know that it's giving them sleepless nights more than everybody else. At the back of their heads, they sleep at night wishing BBI would come through some miracle. So that they can have room to play. There's no room to play. There's no room to play in this matrix.
And you know, if OKA picks a candidate, someone will feel betrayed.
Absolutely,
right?
Of course,
of course.
Yeah. And you remember after the ruling on BBI, we did a joint statement with Senator Mutula, and we said that now we have an opportunity to have all leaders from all shades sitting down with a blank piece of paper and saying, look, this initiative intended to achieve certain things. What didn't you like from it? What didn't you like? What do you like? And after that ruling, I reached out to all of these leaders. I reached out to Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi. I reached out to William Ruto. In fact, he was the first to respond. He said he's always wanted a win-win. I reached out to President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. And I said, it has reached a time, even us as a generation, we're not going to wait for you guys to sort it out up there. We also have opinions, and we believe there's a place where this country would go. Now look at the position they're in. There are certain things, the quality of the vote, extremely important in terms of representation. We're going to an election without that. Nairobi, for instance, was supposed to get more representation because I have 7 constituencies with more than 350,000 people represented by one person, getting the same CDF, etc. If it was a conversation where we all sat at the table, that could have been locked in. How do we share resources, fairly? Remember, we had a long fight in the Senate because of that. How do we make sure every part of this country feels as Kenyan as the other part? And how do we make sure those with high populations like Nairobi also get what they deserve? And then finally, about spreading the, you don't have a winner takes it all kind of situation. So now, if William Ruto picks somebody from Central, the rest of Kenya says, "That's you guys are playing table tennis." Kikuyu, Kalenjin, Kalenjin. If Tinga does the same, what happens to where he had? And I think they've boxed themselves. They have only themselves to blame. I don't envy anyone running for president this time.
It's a big
if one of the Oka people picks a running mate from outside Oka, what happens?
What happens?
Oka is as good as finished. So I think sometimes we stop seeing issues and you see individuals. Because some of them, they were saying, no, if you do this, it's going to benefit this side of politics. And we don't think about politics. Think of Kenya 50 years from now. It won't be about William Ruto or Raila Odinga or Jeff Koinange, for that matter, in ourselves. But it's for posterity. What are we doing for our country moving forward? And so they'll have hard decisions to make. But ultimately, I think the poverty of our politics is that is a hard decision. That this region will support you because they see somebody from their community there. It should not be the case. It should not be the case because we can't have 43 presidents and deputies at the same time. We need to have a country where there's equality of opportunity. That no matter where you're from, no matter who's the president, no matter where they come from, development will come to your place. Your people will have opportunity. As it is today, and it's very painful, especially for professionals. You'll have somebody very high ranking in maybe KRA, but they know for as long as the president is not from my community, I'll never become the Commissioner General. Yet I'm the most qualified. Someone in the military knows that I'm the most qualified senior most, but I will not rise to the rank of a major general because I'm from this and this place. And then how does that person then look at his children? That where will my children go to, no matter their merit? And we need to change that. And I hope this is the last election where people will be trying to scale a mountain, others are trying to swim in a lake, and trying to cobble up tribal coalitions, because that is the emptiness of our politics today. It's really empty, and I hate it, but it's the reality.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Mutula is lucky. I think when he's choosing his running mate, definitely it just has to be someone from there. But for instance, I would have to make such considerations in Nairobi.
And you are running for governor of Nairobi.
Yes.
Under what ticket?
I'm running for governor of Nairobi. The ticket will be found. I have options.
You're running for governor?
I'm a Jubilee candidate. I'm the only Jubilee candidate who's declared to run for governor, as it is. And that's why I'm saying the NDC will be very important. Let's see the direction the party is going.
All right.
017.
017.
Makueni, yes.
Is that Makueni?
Yes.
Let's take a break, folks. Come back. 017047. You have 30 counties in between. Between us. Nice. We're talking live with two. I call them the awesome twosome. Super Senator Sakaja S3 and Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. Both of them running for governors in their respective counties. Lots of questions, I know. Lots of comments coming in thick and fast. And no, this is not... You heard what people are saying, Ati. We recycling guests. When's the last time you were here?
We've not been here this year. This is November.
At all in 2021?
No.
By the way, I can't even remember this studio.
That was God lost.
I can't
No,
even remember.
the last time we were here was, I think maybe November, December.
Wow.
I mean, the gentleman, his uncle has been here more times than us.
In whose house?
Uncle Francis.
Uncle Francis.
Back in a moment. Back in a moment. And welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live here at Citizen Television. Great conversation we're having here with Nairobi Senators S3, they call him, Super Senator Sakaja, and Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., both of whom are running for governors in their respective counties. Let me ask you real quick, first of all, you, Governor, why would one want to run for governor now? I mean, you inherit so much debt to begin with. Why?
Makueni doesn't have those pending bills that are.
What do you mean?
That are synonymous with all the counties. We don't have pending bills, and if they are pending bills, they are pending bills that are subject to the financial year. Means that because of either delay of exchequer, that's why you possibly run a bill of 20, 30, 40 million shillings. But you won't find 5-6 billion shillings. Nairobi will be lucky if Sakaja does not inherit pending bills of up to 10 billion shillings.
Or more.
Yeah, I've advised him to have a banker where he can hide ones now.
Oh, goodness.
When exchequer releases are given, because the law says that the pending bills are the first charge on your budget. Right. It's the first charge. Ideally, you should pay, but it's important, Jeff, because businessmen don't want to deal with counties because they don't get their money on time. We are planning and budgeting and doing things where there is no money, contrary to the law, and therefore it's important to streamline counties so that if you procure, there is a budget and you pay. Sort of things where people they have lost their homes, hung themselves, committed suicide, left, right, and center. It's unfortunate because for the purpose of devolution, other than creating employment, was to ensure that you have business running at the local level. You promote business. That's the idea of devolution. Yeah. It's not the idea of just having big fancy cars and people surrounding you. That is not what devolution was about. And big seats and mobile toilets, those things.
But it can work.
Yeah.
Senator, first of all, Nairobi County is remaining, right?
Yes.
It is remaining.
Yes.
It's not going to be scrapped as part of national government.
It was a huge fight we had. You remember there was a version of the proposed BBI. Version 2. Yeah, that said Nairobi should go under the national government. And I remember it was for a long time a lone fight, because many of my colleagues, including members of parliament, believed you cannot change a comma or a full stop of the document. And I said, look, if devolution is the greatest gift that our constitution has bequeathed to Kenyans, why would you deny 10% of Kenyans who are Nairobians the right to that gift of devolution? The lady in Mutwini needs to be able to have someone to hold account for her health care. You know, the younger in Kayole, Dandora, South Sea, wherever it is, needed to have that. And so I made an argument. I remember when we went to present, we said, look, all countries, because there was the argument that it's the capital, so it should be under the national government. And I said, no. All these countries that have a seat of national, of the national government, moved from what was the vibrant, bustling economic capital and went and created an administrative capital. If you look at Australia, they moved and went to Canberra, which was land donated from New South Wales, and they set up. If you go to Nigeria, Lagos was the place, yeah. But they said, look, let's create FCT, Federal Capital Territory, and they moved to Abuja, and they started a capital. That's why when you go to Abuja, you find the wide streets, the building designs. You can tell it's almost artificial. You know, in the US, they had to make that same decision, and they moved initially from Annapolis. There was Philadelphia, but they donated land between the states of Maryland, Virginia, and created Washington D.C., District of Columbia, and that's why D.C. is the seat of the national government. You don't have a senator of D.C. or a governor of D.C., but you have in New York. And so we said the same thing for Kenya. Nairobi must work. And because two people didn't do well, you don't then cost the rest of Nairobians. Nairobi can work, and we must make Nairobi work. And that's what I keep saying, and I think that I should actually put it as a slogan. Let's make Nairobi work. It can work. You know, you're talking about debt of around 10 billion etc.
Yeah.
We can raise 50 billion in Nairobi as revenue annually if we do two things. Number one, we've looked at the sectional properties law, where now, you know, the titling, whether it is an apartment or whatnot, you pay your rates. It doesn't need to be too high. It doesn't need to be inordinately high. In as much as we're reviewing the valuation of the, you know, the rates are still 1970, 1980, but let's not make it too high. But once you encourage compliance by working with the people of Nairobi, they're ready to pay taxes. But what has been happening today? You find GSU going around with KRA arresting business people. I find my ladies are put in the back of those Mariamu because of 35 shillings. And the tax collection has gone down. Sonko was collecting more than now KRA is collecting. Because you can't collect tax as a fight. You know, you can't make these guys pay more than 14, 13 licenses for a business person. You're told 4,500 for fire license. 4,500 for them to give you a certificate, not even the extinguisher. As if the fire comes, you'll say, read, I have the license. You know, you can't do that. President Kibaki used to say, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. And they'd explain. Recently I was talking to ladies in Kikomba, they said, we're happy to pay, but we've never seen anybody come in to clean this place. But we'd be happy if we see the services. So we must make Nairobi work. Nairobi can work for all of us. We can raise that 50 billion. We can do the serious infrastructure this city needs, from the mass transit, which I think is one of the most important things. You know, Nairobi is not working for you if you have to wake up your child at 4 a.m. to go to school across town. It's not working. But the time when you'll know there's a 7 a.m. train and it gets to, you know, wherever it is, to Westlands at 7:30 or at 7:20, and it's consistent, it is reliable, it is cheap, and it can be done. Around the world it has been done. So it's not that there are angels in the national government, that if you give it to national government, NMS's term is expiring in March. I think they've done a good job in certain areas. In some areas I've had run-ins with them. You know, just last week, thousands of my people in Mukuru were displaced, homeless, you know. There were feeder roads being done, and we agreed, okay, on the feeder roads, please move. But they went ahead and did worse. They cleared out people right now in IDP camps in Nairobi. You know, look at the demolitions that happened in Kariobangi. You know, look at the issue of the fires, and we're trying to get a hand on. But you cannot do it in a militarized kind of a fight against the people. So there's certain things they needed to get right, which I think they've tried. But NMS was first aid. Nairobi needed first aid. You remember, the governor couldn't transact because he had a court case, and he didn't have a deputy, and so there needed to be a stopgap solution, and that was the first aid that was given to Nairobi. Now we need a radical surgery, and I want to serve the people of Nairobi in that position as a young person, young enough to be able to see the results of what I do, because I live in this city. I was born in this city. My kids are in this city. You know, my dad was in this city, and we'll be able to see the results of that. We can make Nairobi work to be a world-class capital that it's supposed to be.
Unfortunately, we still vote very tribally, and Tim Wanyonyi is also running. And you're going to split the Luhya vote right down the middle. You know that.
But I ran against Sifuna to become senator. You see, in Nairobi, there's no Luhya pothole or Kikuyu lack of water or Kamba traffic. You know, our problems.
Garbage.
Our problems. This is Kalenjin garbage. No. The beauty and why I love my city is that the diversity is amazing. I got votes from across the board, you know, 847,000 votes, Jeff. And I thank the people of Nairobi every day. And that's why I have the energy to wake up and fight for Nairobi as a senator, in the Senate every day, you know. It was not a tribal vote. And I don't think that I still feel fit the bill of a tribal vote. In fact, the other day I was being disowned. Oh, this one is not a Luhya, this is what. It doesn't matter. Nairobi is not looking for a Luhya governor. Nairobi is not looking for a Kikuyu governor. It's looking for a Nairobian. And that's why I remember that time my slogan was, I am Nairobi. Because unless we take ownership, when you ask somebody, Jeff, where do you stay? They'll say, oh, I stay in Kitusuru, or I stay in Karen, but I'm from Machakos. Until people see themselves as citizens, and they're parts of this city, and I'm very proud of them, they'll say, I'm from Jerry. Because you own it. Once you own it, then you'll interrogate who you choose as your leaders. You know, in your estate, if you live in an estate, I'm sure maybe there's a chama or something. The choice people, the extent people take to scrutinize who becomes a treasurer of a chama, even our WhatsApp group for trace 50,000 is so high. But then the choice you make to give somebody 40 billion to run your city is very low. And that's what must change. And it can only change once we take ownership of our city, our beloved city of Nairobi. So we'll do it. So people have declared to vie. And that is welcome. Of course, I didn't think I'll be unopposed. There'll definitely be opponents. I wish them well, but I'm confident that we will succeed this time now.
Yeah. What happens to second-term governors? And there are quite a few out there, even your own from Makueni. There's Alfred Mutua from Machar. What happens to them?
They were looking for a retirement package. They have not found. They were anticipating that there will be a regional government. It has not happened. I believe that in all these formations, and you can see that in part of the politics is that they are moving around with some of the governors, because in my own view, the governors are looking for something to do after the election. And let's not even belittle the subject, because these people have got managerial skills, and some of them are as young as, for example, Governor Mombasa. I mean, these are people who can be useful to the country, and I still believe that they merit other jobs when those opportunities arise. But they will be out of county, will be out there. So there's, of course, the likelihood that you are going to have 27 people who have nothing to do. Alternatively, they are going to vie as senators, some will, or others are going to vie as MPs. I'm told one.
Yeah.
One has already declared
governor.
Yes, in is it Sia? Yes, in Sia wants to vie as.
Even in Western, those one who
so the possibilities are there. You can go to the top and still go back down, but never come back up.
Right.
You can't. So it's not lost.
Yeah.
They will still serve, and I think at some point, just like I suggested, that there's a time Kenya will have 10 presidents, ex-presidents.
Who are still alive. Our democracy is evolving.
We're going to have 10 ex-presidents at some point. The same way we're going to have 50 governors, ex-governors at some point. So the country must find a way of using the expertise of all these people, of the presidents and the governors, to help the country. We must give them the recognition. I mean, to serve for 10 years is not a walk in the park. As the ones who want to be governors, Sakaja is one of them, he knows, and myself, it's not going to be easy to get into those positions. And since they have served, there's something useful that they can give to the country. Other people thought that if the country was kind enough, it would accommodate, for example, presidential losers, governors, as ex-official members, for example, in an upper chamber. If you had an organized system where they would sit as just advisors in an upper chamber. Because, again, you don't want these people just out there in the public idling. They can become very disruptive.
I disagree with that a bit.
You disagree?
Yeah.
Upper chamber.
I think, because as you're saying, there's a time there'll be 10, there'll be 20. You know, like the House of Lords in the UK, where you have, former musicians, leaders who just, they're appointed, and they inherit even lordship. I think it's a mix of both. We must get the culture of serving, doing well in your service, and living. So time your career. We can't have, first of all, for a long time, politics has been seen as a retirement thing. That you give your best years in other things, other endeavors, and then you come retire in politics. Yet it's the most important. And that's why I keep encouraging young people, more young people, to give their best years in service to this country. But once you have served, Jeff, when I finish 2 terms in Nairobi, inshallah, if the people of Nairobi elect me, then I'll be able to make a decision. I'll be still young. I can go for president, I can go to Senate, or I can just honorably leave public service and give other people an opportunity. So I think, the problem and why elections are so heavily contested in this country is we've made it a matter of life and death. That if you're out there, I mean, Kalonzo has been out, he's alive. Musalia has been out, he's alive. Raila has been out for how many years? 5 years? For 10 years. He's still alive. Let's not make it that if I don't get elected, then everything is over, my people will not have anything to do, my community will be out of government. Let's change that culture of public office and give other people opportunities. And it's really important. And I'm very happy. The level of scrutiny that people are doing. On Sunday I was at Nairobi Chapel. For 2 services, and it was not those that you've gone to a church to say vijana no, they are doing a series on leadership, on different things, and they're talking about leadership. Before that, they had Martha Karua talking about women, and it's a panel discussion, and you discuss it. And I told them a quote from I think it's Frank Herbert, that any country, and I think it makes sense to us, the world, any country stands on 4 pillars: the learning of the wise, the justice of the great, the prayers of the righteous, and the valor of the brave. But all of those amount to nothing without a leader who understands the art of ruling. And so everyone now is keen on who do we elect. And that's why I was very happy. Why? You know, some counties got certain governors who are very popular. You know, I don't name names, but many of those counties are around us. they're very popular guys, but they did a terrible job, and some are out. And so now people are realizing, okay, so this job is not for this kind of a person. This job is for this kind of person. So as democracy evolves, I'd encourage these second-term governors. I mean, evaluate yourself. You know, you can go for another position, but also it is not bad to help our democracy by nurturing other leaders and you moving on to other things. Retire, kuwa mkulima, go sell mandazi. President Moi finished and he went and we gave him a dignified, you know, funeral on the 4th of, you know, he passed on the 4th of February
but you know, Jeff, in fact, there was a serious legislation done to encourage presidents to leave office so that they can go. The parks. That was the motivation.
The retirement.
It was a motivation so that they don't leave office and all of a sudden you don't have a driver. You've never driven yourself. You don't know where the gear is in the car. you don't know where Kenyatta Avenue is. So a driver, a cook, so that you can eat possibly in the same manner.
You know, there's a joke, if I interrupt you. There's a joke that one of our principals, I won't say who, after office, you know, when they didn't win, went to a petrol station. And he was being told petrol is around 100 shillings. Like, you're conning me. The last time I fueled, because he's been from the 80s, you know. Like, why are you stealing from me? Because they've not fueled for themselves. Right. But let's get used to it. You know? And sometimes also in office, I'll tell you, I mean, I do it, Mututa does it many times, even today he's driving himself. Don't get too used to parks. You don't have to always have bodyguards around you. You don't have to always have, you know, doors open for you. Do things yourself, you know. Biden used to take the train just until he became president. Just do things on your own.
Was it Baltimore or was he commuting from Baltimore? You drove yourself?
Yes.
How about you?
I drive myself a lot. But you know when I come to JKL, what happens after the show?
Yeah, they're waiting for you.
My guys are here.
Yes, you guys.
Yeah, so I mean, let's demystify leadership. Let's in fact make it unattractive. You know, let's not have people getting elected because of the salary. But to serve.
Tell me something real quick before we take a break. If you lose, if you were to lose, what would you do?
In the highly unlikely event. You know, Jeff,
I like that.
For me, you know, there are two types of leaders. There are those who want to lead, and there are those who the people want to lead. I strive not to be the one who's trying to impose myself. And so there's no plan B. Yeah? If in the unlikely event that I don't make it, I'll just go back to business. You know, while support, I can be his PA. You know, whatever. You know? it's not a matter of life and death.
Would you both run for president, deputy? Would you support? I mean, you want to change Kenya, right? You people want to change Kenya, and it's your generation. Yeah. Would you support each other? Maybe later on.
Why not?
Definitely, without a doubt.
Why not? We come from the same church. I mean, it will be easy. You're looking for chemistry.
It won't be a forced marriage, like we've seen.
Looking for chemistry.
You ask us about chemistry.
No.
All right, let me take a break. Come back. Speaking of forced marriages, Jubilee, man, you must be very disappointed in how it turned out. You know, hold your thought, but you must be disappointed.
Extremely.
You know, because hindsight is 20/20, but you know, this.
It was false. What are you
saying? From the beginning. False start.
It was just false.
We had a dream.
It was
an agenda.
So did Martin Luther King.
Yeah. It was false, Bwana Jeff.
Let's take a break. Come back. We'll go to the magic wall and read your tweets as well. At Koinange Jeff at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag JK Live. JK Live takes a break. We'll be back. Wait a moment. Welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live here at Citizen Television. You just saw a moment ago Ramogi TV premiering this coming Monday, our sister station.
Wow.
And this coming Monday, gentlemen. Imagine that.
Are we invited?
Of course you're invited. You're always invited, man.
Yeah, right.
You're always invited. You're right. Send the invitation, Jeff.
By the way, you're saying Kisumu City is one of the cleanest county. Is one of the cleanest counties.
They've implemented the Urban Areas and Cities Act, which we have proposed for major cities in the country, including Mombasa, Nairobi, where you have an opportunity of appointing city managers. So split Nairobi into 4 or 5 zones, appoint city managers to take care of X, Y, Z.
Do you agree?
Exactly. In fact, I was just replying to a text from a good friend from Kepsa. Like Sakaja wanted to be governor, but Nairobi can't work. That's why these other cities have done it across. And I'm like, it can. The first thing you do, you can't run Nairobi like any other county.
No.
Yeah, it's not the same. And that's why the Constitution envisages a very special relationship between the national government and Nairobi City County. In fact, ideally, and which is why when you ask me about the party I'll be in is the party that will form government. Because I don't want to be governor and the president is from another party.
Right.
But number 2, the person in charge of water in Kayole cannot be the same person in charge of it in South Sea. Or in Mukuru is the same person dealing with it in Dagoretti South. You need to have 4 boroughs, Nairobi North, East, West, and South. Thereafter, I appoint city managers for each of those boroughs, and with the same structure, the top down at that level. So you know the person in charge of garbage in Westlands, and you know this is the budget. This is how you're doing it. My work will be just to drive. I say, okay, if there's garbage here, you go home. Unless you've stepped down that accountability and you take devolution to one step lower and have those managers who have no interest in politics. Their work is just to do that work. They'll have the sub-county administrators under them, and you give them the resources. And I've told you we can get up to 50 billion in this city. In fact, even more, based on that sectional properties law. Yeah, Nairobi will work. It must work. And once Nairobi works, Kenya works, Jeff. So I want people who don't believe, please, let's make Nairobi work.
But we must go, we are just simply saying, for purposes of Nairobi, let's return Nairobi to factory settings. Nairobi grew up where there was garbage bins outside Riara. I mean, where I grew up.
Even in Gara, we had the Camero.
Garbage outside. You take your garbage outside, it's collected.
And what you've paid for water is for garbage. But see, Nairobians are now providing their own solutions. We pay for own security. You pay for own garbage. You're buying water from a Bowser. So why are you paying taxes?
We used to take the water directly from the taps. It's possible. It's possible. But Jeff, the most important thing, and perhaps the sacrifice that all of us must make for purposes of this country, is devolution must work. The underlying word is must work, because devolution is about services. When I was growing up, there was a hospital in Rhodes, just say at Polytechnic, you could go and get treated. Up there in Dagoretti, there was a hospital. People get services in Nairobi. People come to work, they want peace, they want to wake up and their streets are clean, that sort of thing. And it's possible to get organized, get the city organized in such a way that you can check the traffic, you can, on all these magic screens of yours, the governor of Nairobi or any other county can sit and can be able to monitor all whatever is happening in the city. But the persons who crafted the Urban Areas and Cities Act, and that is the advice we gave to Kisumu, contemplated that Nairobi is a special city. So the idea of the agreement done between the former governor of Nairobi and the government is actually what is contemplated. It's not supposed to be a default system. You're supposed to surrender part of it because it's a seat of government. It's houses government, and government is supposed to take care of some things. In the past, and I hope we can do that, that government can pay on itself, pay for the buildings that it owns in the city. Pay rates. Because they no longer pay rates.
If I remember discussion with President Uhuru before he became president, and he was like, whoever becomes governor of Nairobi, I just tell government, look, ile pesa wote mmekuwa tunakudai wacha, but be paying from now. That will run a lot of things. I remember he was so emphatic about that, because he understood. I mean, he was the Minister of Finance. He understood what exactly would come out of it. So Nairobi must work, and we'll make Nairobi.
And devolution must work.
And devolution must
work. Not
corruption
just
has been devolved. You know that.
But you know what you must do, and the point I wanted to add. The more you use technology and reduce human interaction with cash in your systems, so on top of the magical for your traffic, and you've done our mass transit, which can be done. The guys who did it, I was in Saudi Arabia recently, looking at the issue of the girls there. But I met Kenyans who work there. The guy who's designed and implementing the Saudi metro, who did the Dubai mass transit, is a guy called George Opondo. Kenyan.
He's Kenyan.
And the Kenyans.
He's a Kenyan, yes.
They did theirs in 3 years.
The Dubai one, yes. He's a Kenyan.
It can be done. And the space is there. Most of it is public land, so you're not talking about compensation. But until you unlock that one issue, you'll not sort out housing in the city. Productivity And all these political factions are trying to raise, build, economic prospects for Kenyans, must make it efficient. Today, you cannot do a meeting in Westlands and in, the south of Nairobi.
No.
You choose one. you can't do both.
Yeah.
We're losing 50 billion shillings because of lack of productivity. So I'm telling my friend from KEPSA, it can work, and we will do it. And understand the skepticism, but let's not look at Nairobi in terms of what it has always been, but in terms of what it must be.
Before the break, I asked you, Senator, you were at the forefront. You were one of the cheerleaders of Jubilee.
Not cheerleader, designer.
Thank you.
Not cheerleaders.
9 years later. Is it 9 years?
Yeah, it's 9
Yeah.
it's 9 years.
You're disappointed?
We launched TNA on the 20th of May 2012.
Correct.
So it's going to be 10 years next year in May. And we had a dream of institutionalizing our politics. And then later we came together with URP to form the Jubilee Coalition. And then later 14 parties brought together. And I remember even that time, having a discussion with the Deputy President that time. And he told me, some of you might be resisting, but it's only in a big party where your talents will come out. Let it be an institution. And if we follow this dream, one day an El Molo will be president and create a serious political institution. And we hoped that time our brothers on the other side, NASA, would also be able to come together. Because before in this country we had, if you ask someone what is a Kikuyu party, they would know. There's a Luo party, a Kamba party is known, Luya, like 3 parties. But where was the Kenyan party? So I'm very disappointed that since we got into this term of 2017 to date, that we've not lived up to the dream of that truly national party that we wanted to create, where there's room for consultation, where you can disagree, but on issues, where you can have party position. And I kept saying, a party position is not the opinion of the party leader. It is not the opinion of a deputy party leader or the secretary general. A party position is when you call people for a meeting, you discuss an issue, we hear the different views on that issue, and once we take a collective decision, then you must take collective responsibility. So Jubilee has been poorly run, terribly run, terribly. And I feel very disappointed because many people hang on to that dream. Those who are looking at the future of our politics for the next 20, 30 years have a very bad example. And that's why it's broken down. I have always said that I believe something could be done, can be done. You have a loved one, no matter how sick they are, you believe there's a doctor somewhere, or there's this new medicine, there's this new solution. You even sometimes take them out of the country. You don't give up. And for me, I'm not ready just to give up on the dream we had on Jubilee. But I will not lie and say I'm not disappointed with how it's been run.
If I could ask you objectively, President has 9 months to the end of his term.
Yeah.
His legacy, what will that be? And I'll ask you too.
I think that of all the things that they promised to do, they're fighting in their coalition or in their party has made it impossible. You can't actually pinpoint something that they've done from A to Z, whether it's digital literacy program, whether it's laptops, whether it's stadiums, whether it's roads, whether it's Galana Kulalu irrigation scheme. Everything has been plagued by politics, corruption, and so many things. And I bothered to say it when I had an opportunity to tell him that I think for now the only legacy that is left is living a peaceful country. That he will live. He's young enough to see the sort of country that he's going to leave behind in September. In September 2022, assuming that you complete the election and you don't have a petition, he's going to be around to see either the mess or the peace that he has left. And therefore his legacy can only be, and for an outgoing president, the legacy can only be to leave a peaceful country. Let the chips lie where they should without appearing to want to push, because assuming that your wish is not followed or the public rebel, you end up with a problem, and you want that legacy. If you think about Mzee Moi and what he did in 2002, eventually his choice was rejected, but Kenyans forgot about it, and I think the president must think very carefully about what sort of country he wants to see in September 2022. Because we cannot have seen the signs of violence, and that is dangerous. We must have a country where people understand that I don't have to disagree with Sakaja violently. But we also don't have to agree. Why do we have to agree? Let everybody stay in their corner and leave Kenyans to make their choices. We also cannot zone this country. And we in the next few days, the president, because the constitution for some reason, very strange reason, has identified the president as a symbol of national unity, the president of the Republic of Kenya. So is the person to stand in the gap when we are going to have chaos and nobody is thinking, when everything is going to go south. This President Uhuru Kenyatta, who we are going to look up to ensure that the country remains on course, irrespective of who succeeds him, and irrespective of what he thinks about the person who is going to succeed him. It's the most important thing for a country to walk away like Obama and just whistle away, and we escort him to whatever location of retirement he chooses. Let him go there and Kenyans can clap. Not be exited in such a way that it leaves people's with a bad taste in their mouths. And presidents, even including governors, have this temptation to want to pick. They should resist. Every time they wake up, they should recite the Lord's Prayer. Resist the temptation to pick your successor.
Well,
resist the temptation to pick your successor.
I think if there's one man who I would not be worried about in terms of the transition, it's President Uhuru Kenyatta. Remember, this is the first person to ever concede defeat, and that was a powerful regime. In fact, a story is told about how, when the results were coming in and it was terrible for them. It was good for the rest of us. We were very happy. I was very happy. I just cleared fourth form.
In 2002.
Yeah. Good Lord. Anyway, so all these KANU from 4 all these KANU stalwarts.
Yes.
Well, like, Sasa, you guy, you're a very useless person. Why we don't even know why Moi chose you as a candidate. Now you will see. And he went to State House. And this is a true story from him. He went to State House, and they were like, there were some people who I would mention who really wanted to go at him because they're like, we cannot hand over. How do you make us lose? And so he didn't see him there that day. He went back home. But the next day he was called now to Kabarnet Gardens here, Kibera. And they were like, Sasa utaona. So umeitwa, you will see him there. And they sat in a room. And in that room, Mzee said, Aya, Sema. President Uhuru Kenyatta stood his ground and said, I'm seeing the tension in the country. I want to thank you for having chosen me. We did our best. But the way the tension is, I think I should go and accept that we've been defeated and we'll fight another time. And President Moi told those people, you've all been wondering why I chose this guy over you. It's because of this. Uhuru Kenyatta will never watch this country burn. So no matter his choice, he's the last person I'd be afraid of. That one, he will not hand over, or number two, he will lead this country down that drain. He will not. Remember, he's borne the brunt and the pain of even the NICC process. You would not wish that on your worst enemy. We had very, very sad and lonely moments. I remember when there was the, what do you call this? Confirmation of charges. When the announcement was coming on.
Yeah.
And I was sitting next to his mom in the house. You don't want anyone's mom to go through that again. Uhuru Kenyatta, you should not worry about that. But then again, also, he must not impose a leader on Kenyans. And I doubt he would. And if he does, maybe he's playing at the reverse game. You never know. But he must not. And must not, you don't try and define your own legacy. Your legacy is what people make out. You can't define, you can't determine your legacy. And he'll be remembered for many things. People might not remember him soon enough, because a lot of what he has done are things that will bear dividend over time. He has done more infrastructure than all the governments combined from the colonial government. Yeah. Recently I was going towards Borana Conservancy and beyond.
Yeah.
The roads are beautiful all the way to Marsabit.
I was in Nyeri last week.
Yeah.
You see that?
Look at the road from Keno. What's happening? The Mau Mau roads. There's now a new one coming from between Isiolo and Garissa, 732 kilometers. It'll be the longest road ever done.
Wow.
Yeah. We're doing it together with the Africa Development Bank. Look at markets. In this last few years, we've done another 54 markets, many of which are in Nairobi. So a lot of the infrastructure, the benefits will be further out. The reason why Kenyans are feeling pain is because of this infrastructure development, you've done a lot of too much borrowing, so there's no headroom for the banks to give people. So people don't have money in their pocket, and it's pain. And we go through it every day. Jeff, I give you my phone, you'll collapse in an hour. The kind of problems people are in, and then COVID has made it worse. And so because of that, people might say that he has not delivered, and then he has no legacy. But I assure you, in 4-5 years, people will remember this expressway is being done.
I was about to ask you, will this expressway will help you or help the people of Nairobi?
It will help the people of Nairobi, definitely, but it's not the solution. And it's not the solution to sort out traffic. You know, there's a book about a man called Robert Moses. Robert Moses was in charge of New York for a long time. And he started from it's a beautiful book you must read by Robert Caro, the same biographer of Lyndon Baines Johnson. And this guy did the roads and roads and roads in New York, in all these peakways and whatnot. Yes. But he was against mass transit. In fact, some of the bridges to date were so low that the bus can't pass or train. And today, that's why you still have a lot of traffic, despite the subway in New York.
Yeah.
The more roads you do, the more people buy cars. You remember Thika Road?
Yes.
We hyped it. Thika Road was going to be amazing.
Traffic,
you don't want to go there tomorrow morning. The solution is a proper mass transit system of train and buses. You put a car, people, just go watch traffic tomorrow. Each car has 2 people or 1 person.
Yeah.
But how many people will a train carry? And there's the space. The plan was done by JICA. I've said it many times. You know, in the Nairobi urban renewal, the new plan, there will be several nodes across the city. There's a heavy trunk. The heaviest road with the biggest load in Nairobi is still Thika Road. So from there coming to the other side of town, and from Mombasa Road coming to this other side, and then now lighter rail going around. You'll be getting out from Kawangware and say, I want to go to South Sea, and you just take one train. And you know that's how you're going. With parking silos. Let's make Nairobi work. And Uhuru Kenyatta will have a legacy on that. The political legacy is different. That's a different story. Yeah? And the jury is out there to make that judgment. You know? They say the first role of a leader is to define reality, and the last duty is to say thank you. In between, the leader is a leader. So he might just say thank you when he's done, and we will remember him how we want to remember him. You cannot determine how people will remember you.
Wise words, gentlemen, wise words. Let's go to the magic wall and see if we can see Nairobi from here. No.
Oh my goodness.
David Mutinda says, Jeff, ask Senator Mutula Jr., as the party official, why is the party changing its colors instead of changing its leadership structure that has resulted to more good candidates losing positions in grounds like Ngu Masumba Ward?
I mean,
why are you changing color? I mean, what's the point of changing colors?
I mean, we are allowed. It's rebranding.
Is the same old wine in new bottles?
No, it's new wine in new wine skin. I mean, we have got to deal with aesthetics. I mean, everybody changes color. You change your suit. You were not wearing blue yesterday, so we want to change color. Maybe it's going to be more attractive.
All the best.
We are colorful people, Bwana.
Yeah. We have to give you that.
Hard,
Kamba colors.
Yeah.
Moon Awidi says Senator Sakaja and Kilonzo are still too young to go for the 2-term gubernatorial seat. They should stay in the Senate and raise the debating level higher.
It's a good opinion.
It's an opinion, but I'll tell him 1 Timothy 4:12. Let no one look down upon you because you're young, but set an example. Yeah, and there's a power in setting examples. This country has been transformed by leaders when they're very young.
Absolutely.
Look at Tom Mboya.
Tom Mboya,
you know, in his 20s.
Ken Matiba.
Ken Matiba. You know.
Look at Governor Mandago. He's going to retire. He's not 50.
Yeah,
he's not 50 yet.
No, Tolgo's the same.
And he's done an amazing job. Governor Mandago.
Yeah, I mean, Governor Hassan Joe is not 50 yet.
He's not 50 yet.
Yeah.
And also our Formula 1 guy.
In fact,
sorry,
he's 50. I mean, in strict terms, therefore, I'm late. Yes. Sakaja is still earlier. I'm late.
Yeah.
In the game.
So we are old then. Our generation.
You guys. Yeah.
We're fossils.
Absolutely, Jeff.
Jeff, do you know in the 2009 census, I'll not analyze this, I'm very good.
Go on.
Kenyans above 50. It's only 9% of Kenyans are above the age of 50. 9. You guys should know each other.
By name.
You should be in our WhatsApp group.
The same WhatsApp.
But I was telling you about Jimmy Kariuki earlier on.
Yeah.
You know, we were in the same class.
Yeah, the same
he and I were in the same class.
Oh my!
Yeah, back then we used to be alphabetical.
Yeah.
So he was K.A. Kariuki, I was K.O.
Yeah.
We sat almost desk to desk.
Oh.
And there was Kibaki in the. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm name dropping.
I'm telling you.
Sorry.
Dynasty.
Ibrahim Mohammed says, please ask Senators Mutula and Sakaja whether OKA has any economic model that is different from that of Baba and Ruto. An economic model, OKA. You haven't said anything about what OKA is.
No. Because they are forcing us to respond to whether you are going to give 6,000 shillings to people or whether you are going to turn the bottle upside down so that it bottoms up. We are not thinking about those things. We are thinking about making sure that the economy is running. You have money. What he's saying about money in people's pockets. How do you do that? By making sure money is circulating. Somebody said something very interesting, and I want to actually put it out there so that we see whether we can have discussions. The question of having disclosure on 1 million is actually inhibiting business. Do you know that?
It is.
It is inhibiting.
How so?
Small enterprises, because people are making 4-5 million shillings a day in informal sector.
You're making trade difficult,
and you're making trade very difficult, because then you have to disclose, and yet you're doing informal business. The people who are in Kikomba doing business are doing 5-6 million shillings business. When they get there, you have to disclose. So we've got to open up the economy so that people can make a coin here, a coin there, etc., etc. The KCB has a plan about a $10 per day per person, 1,000 shillings. Just the person who is selling potatoes in Wakulima market can make 1,000 shillings a day. The person who has a boda can make 1,000 shillings a day. That's the sort of thing you are talking about. You're not giving people. You're telling people go to work.
You're
enabling them, telling them go to work. But when you go to work, whether it's in informal sector, whether they are doing innovation, somebody is going to make money, and 1,000 shillings will be 1,000 shillings in your pocket. It's not 1,000 shillings because they're not.
So there's definitely an economic model. And
it's an economic thinking.
You've had it from Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Uchumi Bora, pesa mfukoni. Money in the pocket. Reduction of debt.
Yes, reduction of debt.
So it's not trickle down, it's not bottom up, it's just some...
do you know why we are suffering? Out of your 100 shillings in your pocket, 68 is going to pay debt. We're only playing with about 32 shillings. 32 shillings.
Out of every 100.
You must reduce it, Jeff. I know you're going to move to the next one.
Go on.
But you must, reassess how government is running.
Yes.
In every month, we're spending around 205 billion paying things. Operation and maintenance alone in government, operations and maintenance is at 50 B. Why should it be 50 B? Salaries are another 53 and pensions. Yeah, you come to, of course, counties get now 26 and it will go up because of the new revenue. You add development budget, which is the smallest component, is 25 billion. In a month, you're doing more than 205, but you're collecting less than 150 billion.
Lord.
So we're a going concern. We don't add up. So you must have that expenditure in government.
You must. We are paying about 1.6 billion on something called commitment fees.
Yeah.
On loans, which we have not taken.
1.6 B.
Yeah.
Yes.
But for the first time, we had to borrow domestically, borrow to pay debts. So that is where is saying, look, let's reduce the this debt exposure, and we'll have people having more money in their
because
pockets.
government is easily the biggest spender. If government is not spending and the money is going to pay debt, everybody's stuck.
Everybody's stuck.
Stuck in a rut.
Yes.
Carrington Mwendwa says, ask Sakaja and Mutula whether the new political deal between Mount Kenya Forum will delay plans by OKA to unveil its presidential candidate before Christmas.
There was no plan to unveil a candidate before Christmas. That was an ultimatum by certain leaders. That was their opinion. They wanted people to go knowing, which, I mean, it's good if they announce tomorrow. But I don't think the recent dalliance with the Mount Kenya Forum reduces it in any way. In any case, OKA is more than just about parties. For instance, I'm in Jubilee. Jubilee as a party officially is not in OKA. And I would wish that we talk to Jubilee, we talk to all these other parties, and see whether we can come to an agreement.
I'm glad you cleared that you're in Jubilee. I was really wondering, huh?
No, I'm in Jubilee.
Mwangi Joseph 23 says, kindly ask Senator Sakaja if he is comfortable being kicked out of Jubilee Party during the Jubilee NDC. Whoa.
For what reason? Why would I be kicked out?
Whether you're comfortable being kicked out sounds like an oxymoron.
It does. Zigzange, soon to be governors, please comment on Miguna's return saga.
It shouldn't be a saga. I think Miguna just needs to be let back. He's a Kenyan. Citizenship is not something that is given to you. It's something that cannot be taken away from you. And I said it even then, before, that of course there are things he did, and the oathing, whatnot, and the government was against it. But I mean, bygones have been bygones. There's been a handshake The person who was sworn in himself is with government. There's no reason why you deny him his citizenship. And this argument that Kenyans who went away and had dual citizenship before the constitution allowed it, revoked the citizenship, is not the case. The constitution says that now you can have dual citizenship, so we must not assume that they don't want Kenyan citizenship. Any Kenyan who lost their citizenship is free to come back and reinstate their citizenship, which they lost by virtue of being a dual citizen in another country.
Agree.
I represented Miguna at some point, the earlier cases that went to the Court of Appeal. The treatment of Miguna is the sort of worst violation you have seen of a Kenyan citizen. To be told to fill in papers, books, etc., etc. If you are a citizen by birth, I mean, surely, it's by birth. You are born. Your parents are known. You don't need to fill a single sheet of paper. But what is worse is that he's possibly the only Kenyan with the most orders in his favor that have been violated by government. It's wrong. It's wrong on so many fronts.
I think
the fact that you don't disagree with what he says doesn't mean you violate his rights. We have reversed the gains of his constitution so many times, and we have allowed the executive to violate the law. And that is one of the black spots in Uhuru Kenyatta's government, violating the law for whatever, whether it's expediency, whether you think it's right or wrong, but it's wrong. What we must call it as it is. It's wrong to treat Miguna to hang around airports and embassies. What sort of message are we sending to people who would want, for example, to become citizens of this republic, or alternatively people who are just investors, are watching and thinking, if a Kenyan can be treated this way, why should I go to that country? And we want to say, want to ask people to become citizens of this republic, because if you attract foreigners, people will stay and then naturalize at some point, they become investors, they give us money, etc., etc. We are the only country that chases people away.
That's why economies like the US have been built from immigrants.
Yes, Germany allows, Australia allows people to have so many friends. You walk there, in a few days you become a citizen, you get rights, you're comfortable, they treat you well, they give you tax reliefs. Here, we are busy chasing away Kenyans.
It's so difficult. Was you work permit? Anyway.
There's a guy who sent his girlfriend 100 million shillings and it became a big deal. Remember?
Why?
You saw that?
Yeah, and he said, by the way, that was his pocket change. Bitcoin.
Sumaili Robert says, ask incoming Nairobi governor how he will deal with Gikomba fires. Is it from ghosts or what? You know that happens very seasonally, eh?
Too many times. And I spoke about it in the Senate the other day, that even we are tired as leaders going to make promises. And that's why I want to govern instead of just legislating. The first issue with the Gikomba is a matter of land. Somebody somewhere thinks they have the title of Gikomba. And that's why I asked the president, like a while back, to make it clear, even with the NLC, that this land is public land. That title you have, because you ban a section and you try and push, and you see a fence. You ban, you try and push people. Number two, and this for me is very painful, because I know it's not popular, but and the traders, and I've told them, they know each other. Some of them because of insurance. When they've run out of their stock, they try and, sort of get compensation. Number three, it's accidents. There's the ladies who are my good friends who cook githeri overnight. From the fire, and the wind can blow. Sometimes the street boys who they on out a motorcycle, and there are those accidents and electrical faults. You can sort those things out. You can sort out the issue of electricity. In fact, not just in Gikomba, including Mathare. And I've said we need a social connection policy, because those people cannot afford power we give them, and that's why they have illegal connections. They should not be paying the same power bill as you pay. So we must do that social connection policy for electricity. There were these quad bikes that Governor Kidero, I think, had bought for inside Gikomba, for you to be able to move around, and have fire stations. That's why we need the fire stations right next over there. But then ultimately, and I'm glad the government, we've already done phase 1 of the building of Gikomba market. That will take around, I think, 1,000 traders, which is a drop in the ocean. We need to modernize that market. It's the biggest market in East and Central Africa. But that's why we need fire stations. And last time I spoke about it, because I saw these guys going to launch a fire station on grabbed land, in Parklands, in High Ridge. So you grab land, and then you donate part of it to build a fire station. Yet all of it was supposed to, and that's a matter I'm going to follow up to the end. And I hope they're listening, you guys.
Someone has a title for Gikomba.
Someone has a title.
Apparently.
Someone was given, yeah.
And somebody has a title for Mukuru.
Mukuru is even a bigger issue.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah. The title was given to someone. And, even if they lay claim to it, I think government should treat the people of Nairobi with dignity. The same way Waitiki land was sorted out and Waitiki was given compensation.
That's right.
Mzee Njenga of Mukuru kwa Njenga, until the day he died, he would come to I told him to stop coming to my office because he was such a frail mzee. He comes there crying about Mukuru. The last time I saw him was at his home. The history of that place is well documented, And so if it's a legal dispute that these are people who own it, stop telling people to put money in your account. They're putting money in somebody's bank account. 400,000 shillings. Let government finish that matter and compensate the people of Mukuru. So we've told them, those who were evicted illegally, beyond the feeder roads, to go back until this matter is sorted out by government. They're as Kenyan citizens as anybody else.
So you said there was a Mukuru, there was a Njenga in Mukuru?
Njenga himself.
And Ruben, was that the same thing? Was there a Ruben?
Ruben was named after somebody else as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. Betsa Marvin says, when Senators Johnson Sakaja and Senator Mutula are on the bench, it's always mature conversations rather than shouting at each other as others do. Wow.
We're about to start out.
I wonder, who are those others? I don't know.
You should tell us who you bring to the bench.
In whose hands?
No, but it's lovely.
Well done, guys. Well done. Closing thoughts. Moving forward. Let's start with you, Senator.
Jeff, I've said this before. This is our country. We must love this country. We must do our politics. But this country is greater than all of us. And somebody said we are holding brief for others. And therefore, every actions we are taking. Today, I was actually discussing in terms of climate change. Said that it pains me that when we were young, and Sakaja can confirm, the river that was flowing around Nairobi used to have king prawns.
The fish, yeah.
Fish. We used to fish. Now it's Siwa. Now, when the person when I was watching COP26 said that we are digging our graves, yet if you go to Geneva, you can see the bottom of the river in Geneva and River Thames, or whether you go to Beijing, and they're saying we are digging our graves, and yet in Nairobi, the capital city of Nairobi, there is sewer running in a river, and nobody is taking action. It pains me that there's a Kenyan who thinks that it's a good idea to pour effluents into a river, pour industrial waste into a river, because he doesn't care that there are people downstream who are going to consume that water. If you go to Machakos, places like where my wife comes from in Kabaa, you find people are farming sukuma wiki. Those sukuma wikis are finding themselves into people's tables. It's wrong, and we must call what is wrong wrong. So we must take care of the environment the way we love ourselves, but we must love this country more than we even love ourselves. We plead on my part that we are going into a very, very serious season. They call it the silly season. We must continue preaching peace. Would you, Mzee, be disappointed if in today's Kenya? Would he be disappointed? Absolutely disappointed, because strictly speaking, the celebrations they had in 2010, where fundamental rights, we were celebrating Chapter 5 of the Constitution. It's such that if somebody threatened your right in Chapter 5, you can actually get an order. An apprehension, just the thought that somebody is violating your right, you can get an order. Not in this country anymore. They'll violate your order, you go to court, you have a court order, say this is a piece of paper. That's not the country we wanted to build. That's not why we have a constitution. You see? No. I was shocked that there is evidence, for example, in some of these scandals, somebody went and withdrew money in cash, put it in a pocket and took off. He has never been prosecuted. I mean, what are you talking about? Oh. It's wrong. And that person is still in office. Senator, you get the last word.
Jeff, I'm just counting because I love doing that.
Yes.
In 257 days and 7 minutes, Kenyans will be making a decision. It's just 257 days, or 6,168 hours. Or if you'd like it in minutes, it's 370,000 minutes. Kenyans will be making a decision.
Yeah.
as Mtula said, it is silly season.
Yeah.
In many respects. There have been, flashes of people booing each other, lack of tolerance, intolerance. And we always tell people, look, when you're listening to a radio and you hear a song you don't like, you don't smash the radio. You change the station. Or you switch it off.
Yes.
So I tell Kenyans, let's tolerate each other. Let everybody be able to speak freely wherever they are. If you do not like that person, you don't have to be in that meeting. Because those things breed animosity. So today, if William Ruto is booed in Kisumu, tomorrow, somebody else will be booed elsewhere. If tomorrow Raila is booed in Meru, you'll also go to where he has a stronghold. An eye for an eye, we will lose our sight. So let's have tolerance and let's have peace. That is my word. And I want to tell young people, I know there'll be another registration drive in January. Good people of Kenya. Bad leaders are elected by good people who don't register. The young people, because the numbers based on the target are so low. We expected around 5-6 million. We've hardly gotten one. Nairobi, we expected 750,000. We've hardly hit 100,000. So we have more or less the electorate we had. And it's because, and I said on Sunday, people were upset. I said it's because we're not seeing inspirational messages coming from the top. So they're not inspired to make the decision. But I want to tell them your vote counts. Young people, your vote counts. Register to vote. And finally, let's make Nairobi work.
And I can add one more thing, folks. Evil prospers. When good people do nothing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? When people just sit on the side and do nothing, that's when evil prospers.
The devil takes over.
Gentlemen, good to see you and good luck with your prospective.
Good Lord, it's midnight.
This show has gone for 2 days.
But time flies when you're having fun, huh?
Absolutely.
It's been a while. And everyone should know we're not here. We've not come this year. This is the first time.
This year?
This year.
Great conversation, though. Great conversation.
Always a pleasure.
I can't wait for the wiper colors tomorrow.
Absolutely, me too.
If a chameleon passes there, it can die.
Oh my goodness.
Senator, when you guys decide to have it in NDC, let us know. Let me know when you let us. When you have
Murade will communicate.
And when he's being thrown in, let him know too. That applies to me too.
We shall invite you.
Great conversation. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, folks. This is what real conversation is all about. Because I keep saying, let's keep talking. The moment we stop talking, it's the moment we start fighting. You don't want to go down that slippery slope. Monday, Ramogi TV premieres our newest sister station. It's going to be lit. Lit kama pass.
Tell the people of Kisumu, Amoso Dutote, one Kanyakla, one Kanyachiel.
And Erokamano. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Good night. Good luck. God bless our country, Kenya.